Hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Friday. Today, as you notice, I've got some graphing paper, and because we are graphing. So we're going to learn what it looks like to take ordered pairs, to take a function. We talked about those yesterday with our function rules, and take that and apply it to one of these coordinate grids, right? We talked about that first in 13.1. And now we are going to apply the things we've learned up to this point all in one nice, neat little package. So the first thing that we've got to do is we're going to use a table. Remember, I call these T-charts? We're going to use this table to organize our function. The X coordinate, the input, and the Y coordinate or output. So we're going to keep it organized, keep it clean and clear, and then we're going to find out how to graph it. So here's an example. Make a table so again, this is one of those T-charts, to find the ordered pairs for the function f of x equals x minus 2 if x equals all of these values. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these values and apply them into Okay, so this is the first thing that it's going to look like. We have this function here. And again, I've taken all of these values and I've put them here. These are my x values. And I've got my x, my function, my y column, and then over here I'm going to compile all of the ordered pairs. These ordered pairs are what we're going to use in our graph, which I'll show you in just a minute. Okay, so let's look at the first one. So I'm going to substitute in -4 for my x value. It's going to look something like that, which is going to give me a y value. Let's see how I can do this. A y value looking something like that, giving me the coordinate pair x comma y, -4 comma -6. Okay, moving on, -1 I'm going to substitute in, looking something like that. -1 minus 2 is -3, giving me the point -1 comma -3. Okay. Now, what I did was I just went through and I substituted all of these, maybe even before I solved. So that way, when you do so, you get all of your y values. Let's do 0. 0 minus -2 is, or 0 minus 2 rather, is -2. So our point crosses at 0 comma -2. That's nice. For 3, 3 minus 2 is 1. And then 5 minus 2 is 3. So these points here are the ones which I am going to graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put a pause on all of that, and I'm going to, on your piece of paper, what I recommend is after, let me just pull this bad boy off, put that there for now. I recommend you draw a graph underneath. Now, I've already drawn my graph on my piece of paper, so I'm going to show you what it's going to look like here. Okay, so again, I've got my vertical axis, which I'm going to call y, and it has arrows on the end, and arrows over here, and arrows down here, and arrows over here. This one I'm going to call x. All right, there's all my arrows. You probably only need to come maybe 5 in each direction. So this one's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be, and again, these are like the little cross hatches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, I've got my negative values 2, 3, 4, 5. But these are -1, 2, -3, -4, again. These are all negatives also. Negative 1, 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Now, I've been doing my graphs with the labels like this since I was in middle school. So I just like the way it looks. Again, I've got my cross hatches here. Your graph might just have the arrows right there afterwards. That's totally fine. I'll do that just so we could all see it. Right, this is my y-axis. This is my x-axis. It's nice and cleanly labeled. Okay, now let's look at our points. So my first point, I'm going to plot at -4, -6. Now, you might say, well, Mr. Boulger, I didn't draw -6 on my thing. Well, that's okay, because we know... Excuse me. That's allergies, by the way, not anything else. We know it's just going to be one step beyond our -5. So again, for my x value is -4. So I'm going to count -1, 2, 3, 4. And then my y value is -6. So I'm going to count from -4, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, it's 1 past -5. So my first point, -5, or -4, -6. That's my first point. Okay, that's what all of this graphing and formulas, that's what all this is for, is to organize our points. My next one is going to be at -1, -3. So I'm going to find my x value of -1 and my y value of -3, and where these connect is right there. Then my next point is I've got my x value of 0. So again, x equals 0 right here at the origin. But my y value is -2, so it's right... Oh, it's actually on the axis. That's nice. Okay. My next value is 3. Okay, so it's 3 and +1. So +3, +1. And then my last value is +5 and +3. And you might see how these all... Now, it is important not just to plot the points, but to connect the dots. Again, with arrows in each direction. And our graph looks something like this. Now, you guys are obviously welcome to look at this again, or you could look up online. There, I know on YouTube, Khan Academy has lots of other coordinate graphing, or coordinate planes, simple graphing, intro to graphing type videos. It might make more sense to watch it from a different person, or just rewatch this again. You could ask me. I do have a few more notes. But if there are any questions on this, please never ever hesitate to ask. And again, our graph looks something like this. Now, I didn't even write this all the way out, although I should have, right? Our graph looks very similar to this. Now, moving on. If you are not given values for x, right? Here we were given these values. But if you're not, choose 3 of your own, and I recommend choosing these 3. There's a few reasons why I choose these 3. One, usually it's pretty easy to add or multiply by 0, 1, or -1. The other reason is you don't need to draw a very big graph for that, because it's all going to be right about here. I mean, you could choose 100, but then you're going to be drawing way over here. Could choose 5, but then you're going to you have to make your graph at least this big. But choosing -1, 0, and +1, your graph is probably, in this case, our graph would be this big, right? Okay, now here is a otro example. Graph y equals x plus 3. Now in this case, we're not given x values, so I'm going to choose those three that I recommend. -1, 0, and +1. Okay, well, when I plug in -1 plus 3, I get my y value of +2. When I plug in 0, I get the y value of 3. When I plug in +1, I get the y value of 4. So my graph is going to look something like this, with my points of -1, 2, 0, 3, and 1, 4. Right, this is 1, this is -1, 1, 2, 3, and 4, etc., etc. Alright guys, those are all of your notes for today. I hope this makes sense for you guys. Again, if you have questions, please ask, and I'd be happy to go over it with you. Otherwise, know that I love you, and have a great weekend. Bye guys.